Hello everyone, welcome back to another Wizard101 video. Last video, I don't even remember what I did, but this video, oh, I did a Spellman video. This video is going to be a more talk video than a guide video, alright? This video, as you can see by the title, is how deth, just over the course of a month, went from a meh school to my favorite school without a doubt. It's actually kind of crazy how fast it happened. It was kind of like deth I'd always found it interesting, and then I played it, and then I played it some more, and now it's like my favorite school, definitely by far. Well, not by far. It's hard to take over some of my other favorite schools, but this one is definitely my favorite school now. Basically, this video is going to be going into depth how that happened, why it happened, and why I don't think it's going to change for a while. So let me explain some things. I'll go back in time and kind of explain the early deth. So deth used to have two major problems, I believe, right? The first major problem was that enchants only upped the damage by half of what they should have on death spells or heal back spells. So for example, Scarecrow used to have like 400 damage, which is ridiculously low. Yeah, I used to have 400 damage. That used to go up to 600, or sorry. No, that's completely wrong. 400 damage, right? With Colossal, instead of going up by 275, it would go up by 130 whatever, right? Which was stupid. For some reason, heal back spells did that. I don't know why they did that, but that's what they did. So it made Death's best hit in the game, Scarecrow, which back then wasn't good at all, just not very good, right? There was that. There was also the fact, well, half their spells are death spells, so that kind of sucked. But half the spells are heal back spells, not death spells. All other spells are healed or death spells. Don't worry about that. But when they introduced Call of Cthulhu, that was also a heal back spell, so it didn't do that, or it did that, right? Also, the spell animation took an hour and a half to do, which sucked. But like you can see when I'm looking here, almost all their spells are heal back spells, right? So them only doing half from enchant was just awful for a death. Excuse me. Two, that was the first reason. Two, deth did not have a 4-pip AoE spell, right? For the longest time, Death's only learned spell to hit all is Scarecrow. Then Deer Knight, which came out, which had 5 pips, which admittedly is better than Scarecrow, but it still had one major problem. Back then, Dex did not give a pip, or did not give an extra pip, so you had to wait around to use it. 2, the Deer Knight spell animation was long and is still way too long, which is just a real problem. It takes absolutely forever for Deer Knight to cast its animation, which kind of sucks. So those were the major gripes of deth back in the day. It wasn't awful, it just wasn't that good at all. Just the heal back thing especially was probably the worst. So that was the two major gripes of deth back then, and that was, you know, a serious issue. Also the fact that most of their gear wasn't the best. Obviously nowadays it's still not that much better, but it's better than it was. But those were the two major gripes, right? I had a level 90 deth. It was painful because I didn't have Deer Knight, and that was that. Then I forget when, but it was a year, at some point, they changed it so that enchants did full damage, which was poggers. That was the best, honestly, one of the best updates KingsIsle's done for deth. That they made it so that enchants would do the full 275 because epic wasn't a thing back then. It might have actually been, but that's besides my point. Basically what I'm saying is they fixed it, so all of a sudden deth got extremely powerful compared to what they used to be, which is sick, right? They were a lot more powerful already from that update. Then KingsIsle did another update, And that update added Ship of Fools. Ship of Fools is perhaps the most game-changing aspect of deth. A 4-pip hit-all spell that heals back is insane. This does, like, my deth with 110 damage, right? And then the 100% crit update has made it so that I can first round do 2.3k damage to the enemy and heal back. So if there's 4 enemies in the fight, that heals me 4,000 health first round, right? And I can do that whenever I want. So say I'm having some trouble in a boss fight, I'm almost dead. I just use Ship of Fools and boom, I'm healed, right? It's literally that easy, and it's actually kind of insane, just how crazy that update was for deth. And honestly, it was really good. I'm so happy that they did it. Ship of Fools was one of the best game-changing updates for deth of all time, and it was amazing. So those 2 updates combined were fantastic. Then KingsIsle did 2 more updates, which changed deth even more. It doesn't seem like it directly affects deth, it affects everyone, but it did change deth. 1, bosses' health were reduced by 20%. That made it much more, it made it much easier for everyone to solo, not just deth. But with deth's heal back, that makes it even easier. So the enemies have less health, and you can still heal back, which is great. So deth has immediately made soloing even easier. 2, the crit update that happened 2 months ago at this point. They made it so that crit, once you're at a certain level or whatever, you crit 100% of the time, right? If you have crit. And it all is up to the enemy's block, which means during PvE, you're gonna have a much better time because you're gonna be critting 100% of the time. So now all of a sudden deth is a machine, right? Because they always crit, which means they'll always heal back an insane amount, plus the fact that they're just generally good at soloing already, right? So deth, in my opinion, has become by far the most godly solo school out of all of them. Like, no other school compares to deth in regards to soloing, right? Which is kind of crazy. I made that tier list of soloing, and deth was the only S tier, just because you cannot compare anything to deth. Like, maybe right back in, before all these updates I've mentioned, I bet you that deth would have had some others above it, or along with it. But now deth is so powerful that it is, you just can't compare anything to it. Like, you can't say that fire can solo as easy as deth. That's just not true. You can't say storm can solo as easy as deth. It's just blatantly not true, right? It's like, no matter what you say, deth is the best for soloing now, which by extension makes it great for duoing because it's fantastic, plus adds sacrifice so it can heal. So overall, it's really good. Now, that is definitely how deth became my favorite, but I'll explain to you the exact events that led to deth becoming my favorite. So I've had this deth for a very long time. As a child, I was a stupid child. I spent money frivolously. And what I did was, when the level 50 elixir came out, I wanted a good deth, so I bought the level 50 elixir. Probably not my best, sorry, bless me. What? Okay. Probably not my best idea. It cost way too many crowns, but I did it, and I can't regret it now, right? It's been too long for me to regret it. But that's not the only thing I did. Because I had bought 60,000 crowns because it was like around Christmas time and I just had money, I also bought Knight's lore packs. It took me 1 to 2 Knight's lore packs and I got Deer Knight. So all of a sudden I had this deth level 50 with Deer Knight. It was just too good to be true. So I quested him up a bit, got Waterworks gear, and got him up to about level 70 as a Faria, and then stopped questing because that was probably the time that I was the most bored of the game. I didn't play Wizard101 all that much in 2017 to 2019, or 2018. 2017, 2018 was like the least time I played it. But I stopped playing as much. My death kind of stagnated, but it was fine. You know, overall, it was fine. But that didn't last forever, obviously. My friend, his name is Calvin. You might have seen him on the channel in the early days. Excuse me. Had a storm, who was in Avalon. He was in late Avalon in, like, the weird. So, in one day, I quested my death up to his, storm. And then together, we finished Avalon. I finished all of Avalon in a day, which is kind of crazy. Excuse me. But I did it. Then we quested some more. We quested to Azteca, which firmly somehow cemented Azteca as one of my more favorite worlds now because of the health reduction update and the crit update. Duoing with a storm in Azteca was just really easy. It's just like Stormlord, Scarecrow, boom, we won. Like, it was ridiculously easy. And this was before I had Ship of Fools. So, honestly, if I had Ship of Fools back then, it would have been disgustingly easy. Now, we're in Chrysalis. We quested up to level 100. We've kind of stopped questing now, but I'm sure we're going to start again soon. But basically, my point is that this death has good memories. All of my wizards have good memories, but this one in particular has showed me just how powerful death can be, right? I was also incredibly lucky on this account, considering I'd somehow gotten both Morganth's Amulet and Athame on one of my other wizards. So by the time I had gotten to... When I got to level 99, I could just equip it immediately because I already had it. So... that basically explained is how death became my favorite wizard, or favorite school, over the course of about a month. Technically it was over the course of years, but the month is really what firmly cemented it for me. So that's basically my talk video. I hope you enjoyed my rambling, and it kind of put into perspective how death has gone from a meh school to a fantastic school in only a little bit. Please let me know in the comments what your favorite school is, and maybe any stories you have. I would love to hear it. I know that there's an ice guy on my channel. I'm sure he'll comment ice because he seems like an ice supremacist. Sorry, that was a joke. You're fine. Anyways, that's it. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a fantastic day. Thank you all for watching.